What up? I was blowing people up yesterday with the bitch. DJ Yeti, and this is the beginning of our documentary. It's April 12th, 2011. We had and this is Mixes and Meals. Good evening, everybody. SuperJaytheDJ. Again, the beginning of our documentary, Mixes and Meals.
Man, it's crazy. We shot that 5 years ago. Who would have thought we would be here now?
Because I want to be the best.
I definitely want to be a DJ until I die.
Well, I worked on one scratch for 3 hours.
Practice?
It took me years to get here.
Hey, SuperJ.
Oh, Yeti.
My name is Charleston Phillips. I'm also known as the legendary Yeti, and I'm from Houston, Texas.
SuperJaytheDJ. I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised. I go to Texas Southern University.
So I started off DJing for personal experiences. I looked up to Screw and 5,000 Watts. You know, those are OGs to me and big influences. So I was at home screwing and chopping music at first, and then when people heard what I could do, they started inviting me out to bigger events.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a radio DJ. I grew up and my mom used to take me to school and we would always listen to 102. And radio then was like, they had a lot more to it. It was like shows, they had like a soap opera, they had like a freestyle, or there would be a song of the day that they would make about current events. And it was just much more to it. It was like TV.
I started off as a songwriter, and that got major. I worked with multiple different record labels, and I even had offers. My highest offer was $7 million, my lowest was $300,000. But my manager went bankrupt, and so that forced me to go to college. And at college, that's when I picked up DJing. So I'm really blessed to be in this position because I didn't plan on going this way, but that's just how everything panned out for me.
When I was younger, my dad worked at a club at night. His part-time job was a bartender, and it was at Club Classic and Club Taylor. So on the weekends when I would stay with him, I would go to the club with him. He would take me to the DJ booth and be like, stay in the DJ booth. So I just kind of picked it up from there, and I started DJing a little bit for the DJ. When he would get drunk a little bit, he would be like, hey, hold it down for me. Or if he was talking to a girl, he would show me what to do or play these 4 songs next or something like that. And this is kind of how I got my start.
The exact reason that I started DJing was because it was a lot of DJs who were charging a lot of money at Sam Houston for events that we didn't necessarily need to spend a lot of money on. We used to have hump days and parties on the yard and stuff like that, and it'd be a small turnout of about 100 to 200 people. So I felt like I had the skills and the assets to be able to facilitate those events. Getting my family to support me in music and also in music business and what stems into entrepreneurial business has forever been tough for me.
My family, it took some time for them to start supporting me. When I first started, they were kind of against it. I grew up with my grandparents as far as my college career. And my grandparents are kind of old-fashioned. My grandpa, he worked at a post office most of his life. My grandma worked at a Bank of America bank most of her life. So it was just, hard for me to explain to them that I wanted to do my own thing. They're so used to having like a job that secures.
Both of my parents are retired educators. Both of my parents retired from HISD. So they would like for me to take the traditional approach and apply for jobs and bring my resume and get jobs, the traditional way. But me, I've always wanted to be in charge of my own career, my own measure of success.
My friends were like skeptical at first. When I was like, I want to be a DJ, they was like, okay. And they just was like, all right, well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. If I sucked, they were going to let me know I sucked. The way I started, I bought all my DJ equipment. I'd have them come over. They'd come hang out all day. I'd be just DJing. They'd be like, bro, you're trash. You're like garbage. You got to My friend Teasy used to tell me, he would just roast me the whole time. He's like, bro, you're the sorriest DJ at Sam Houston. He would just go in on me, and I just, that's the kind of encouragement that they taught me. When I first started, I practiced every day because I sucked. I was horrible. When I first got my board, it's kind of like a leap of faith. I bought like a $2,000 DJ board, and I had a Dell MacBook computer. a Dell computer, and those two things didn't go together, so I had to borrow this girl. She stayed next to me. She was my roommate. She used to let me borrow a MacBook to practice. So all day while she was at school, because I took like afternoon classes, so she would give me her MacBook at night. I would practice all night long. In the morning, I would wake up and practice. First time I met DJ Yeti, I was in the student center at Sam Houston, and I was eating lunch with some friends. And he always used to walk around with this board, this DJ board. It's kind of smaller. It's called a Vestex, and he would carry that and his MacBook everywhere he go, and he'd just be mixing music. It's kind of why I wanted to, learn from him, is because he knew about mixing and techniques, not just, playing songs. He knew the ins and outs of DJing to be the best, what it was going to take as far as technicality, mixing and scratching, and just, knowing the actual software and equipment that you have to use. He had knowledge on that. So yeah, I really had to humble myself and come to him and ask him to be my mentor.
He came to me about being his mentor, and what made me say yes was just his persistence. Like, he literally would not stop, but it wasn't in no pessimistic type of way. He was just always speaking. He was just always saying, hey, what's up? Hey, I seen you doing your thing. Hey, do you need help after the event? Do you need help setting up? Okay, if I help you set up, what are we plugging up? How do I properly plug this up? What controller are you using? Why? What program is this? What software? So, he came to me with all the right questions, and I was just providing him with the answer.
When I first started DJing, the way that I got my start, just to give me recognition around the campus, I had a group of friends that, they knew I was trying to DJ, and we were just trying to throw parties, and, nobody would really book you unless you already had a, name for yourself. So we had a group called ENT, and we would throw parties or different events. And one of the first ones we threw was 80s versus 90s party.
Well, and it was a packed out event at a club that did not welcome our culture, and we packed it out with our people. And it was really like heartfelt. There was no altercations, no fights, no disagreements between anybody on the production aspect and the crowd. So it was all love. We got love from the entire campus. First mixtape we ever did was the 80s, 90s. It turned into an 80s, 90s party. It took a lot of time for us to perfect the mix, to get the songs in order, and to produce the tape. We had, I think at that time, we had physical copies. We had CDs.
And it was real cool. It took us forever. We stayed up like all night making that mixtape till like 4 in the morning. And, that was just the mixtape. We got a good response. But the party was actually good as well. Everybody came out.
He was blessed to get a weekly at this bar that wasn't really welcoming of people of our culture.
And it wasn't like an integrated experience when I first started. It was just, we had these kind of people. It's the only kind of people we want in here. But when I started DJing, I was able to, slowly mix that. And I see how good that felt and how it looked to people, to have all those different people having a good time together. So, well, my first gig that I did by myself that was big was an OD5 Halloween gig. It was at Jolly Fox. And I did gigs, but, it was just kind of virtual DJ, pick the songs, not really DJing. But this was like the first gig I was using my new board and everything like that. And it was a big experience for me, but I got a good reaction. I think that's what made me fall in love with DJing, was the reaction that I got from people and the way people liked it, and how I created like a real memory or a real enjoyable time for somebody. And that's kind of what made me stick to it. And just kind of got addicted to that, just the feeling, the reaction I get from people. DJ for everybody. When I started, I DJed in this club.
I definitely feel like social media has diminished the value and technique of DJing.
You have to have at least a social media following just to kind of show your worth to people in the DJ industry.
So a lot of people use the social media for publicity instead of using it as a networking tool.
The main focus now is like following. People are more caring about how many followers they have or their Instagram, or it's not really about technicality or music selection. It's like when I started, it was more about like your mixes, if your mixes were cold, or were you clever enough? Can you do word mixes, or could you scratch? And you know, was your song dropping on point? Like, did you know how to play with the crowd? It was a lot about crowd control and actually being able to do it with just your board. There's a lot of DJs who are really good that are like awesome, but they just do like regular gigs and they're so underseen. And then there's a lot of people who aren't that good of a DJ technically, but they have a big following. And I think that's a talent too. Like, I don't want to sound like a hater, so that takes time to create a fan base, and that takes a lot of effort to do that as well. So it's still a hard task, but it's just different than it used to be.
Social media and just the internet in general has allowed all of us to have creative ideas and to dictate our own success.
I would just tell somebody who wanted to be a DJ now that, make sure it's something that you really want to do, because it's a lot of hard work. You have to, get your music, you have to get your history. You really got to do a lot of research and put the time in to really be successful.
I would just encourage everybody to wholeheartedly follow your dreams, but don't halfway do it. Do the research and figure out, what do you need to do to be successful? What do you need to do to turn your aspirations into a career?
So I'll be graduating this fall.
So I've also earned 2 degrees. My first degree is Mass Communications Broadcast Production from Sam Houston State University, and my second is Audio Production from the Art Institute. So I've been able to propel my career with those 2 assets behind me.
I'm looking for radio jobs everywhere. I've been applying at every radio station.
I'm a current engineer and music business consultant and field representative of Wire Road Studios, which is a great facility here in Houston.
And just grow my private DJ business as well. I've been blessed to have, different friends and people who want to help and be partners. And we kind of created our own event business as far as DJing goes. Karaoke DJ. I DJ for weddings and stuff like that.
Wonderful time, DJ SuperJ. I want to shout out that boy. He did a damn good job. Best DJ in Houston, Texas.
I asked when I first started DJing, that was one thing I prayed about. I asked God, I was like, hey, I tweeted 2012, and you can still see it. All I want is to be able to DJ for a living.